Gentlemen, if you don't know it, this is the Pat Garrett. Welcome into the lab band.
Let's talk about that bar for just a second, though. What's going on rhythmically in that bar?
Just long sustain and resolution.
Say again?
It's just a bar of sustain and then resolution.
Sure.
So then pick up on 4 and then
Sure. Particularly in that one bar, though, what do you got?
dot half.
Everybody dotted half?
Except for piccolo, oboe,
And they've got
3 hands the rest.
just a pickup. Yeah. Right? Anybody have a whole note?
No.
Okay, so where did you put your rhythm?
I guess I put it on 4.
You put it on 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want some clarity, the 4, the 8th note's on 4, make your release 3.
Okay.
Dee, dee, do, dee, do. Your choices there are put some space, dee, dee, do, dee, do. Or don't put any space, dee, dee, do, dee, do. Try to have that dot half note touch the first 8th note.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you do the first one?
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and you can do it 2 hands or just 1. They've got a release there. You can just give a little extra impetus with the baton tip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Works just fine too.
Did you wrap around from left to right or right to left?
I wouldn't probably do much rapping at all. If I rapped, I would wrap my left hand clockwise. D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we start? Go send it
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah. Was it exactly what you wanted yet? Let's start 4 bars from there. What is that?
13.
4 bars from 13 or
No, right at 13.
right at 13? Okay.
Or the pickup's in the 13.
Yeah, yeah. Right, nice and simple. Clear.
We start at the same spot, and then
All the players need to know, especially because it's a dotted half note. You know this as a musician. And all you guys in the room, you'll hear me say this a lot of times, I hope. The right answer as a conductor usually is connected to the right answer as a musician. So Pat's a great phoning player. If you were playing that note, the question you'd have is this one of those dotted half notes that goes to B4? Or is this one of those dotted half notes that releases on B3?
B3.
So that's your answer, right? But we just kind of have to put ourselves in a position of the players when we're making our decisions about gestures and try to preemptively imagine the question that they're going to have and try to help them with that answer. So in your score study, you looked at this, you see that dotted half note, that's the kind of thing that will occur to you. You know, as a player, what do they need? They might be playing that dotted half note, wondering whether it's one of them that's supposed to get all the way to B4, or whether it's one of those weird dotted half notes that releases on B3. You know, because how many beats are in a dotted half note? Right, it depends. Right, the real answer is it depends. How many beats are in a whole note? Goes across the bar line, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it releases on 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3.5. Right? If it's one of those weird unicorns that releases really truly on the upbeat of 4, then it's a 4-beat whole note. But that would just confuse our 5th graders way too much if we said a whole note is somewhere between 3.5 and 5 beats, depending on the moment in the repertoire.
Yeah.
Kids would go running for their lives. So we tell them it's 4. The problem is we take that into college life. Sometimes we cling to the fact that a whole note's 4 beats. Really not. Okay? So what you're doing with your release gesture is just defining that in your score study, in your reader, this is a dotted half note. That is 1, 2, release, a 2.5 beat dotted half note, not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 3.5 beat dotted half note.
So if I wanted to cut off in that bar, would I just do it like a 3 pattern, like 1, 2, off, 4, 1?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I prefer we use release. I don't think you want to cut off.
Yeah. We started at the same spot.
Ask them.
Thanks. It's more kind of what I want, so I felt a little bit more comfortable with that. We all felt similar. Anyway.
You've heard me in conductor class say that we're just like the medical doctors in that sometimes the most important thing to do is do no harm. They make those medical doctors raise their right hand when they're done, right before they give their license. The first thing they pledge is that they'll do no harm. You know? So if it's what you feel most comfortable with, and it doesn't hinder somehow with the musician to do it, then cool. Every once in a while, we start doing things that's because of what we want to do, and it makes it tougher on the musicians. That's when you really want to, you know, second guess yourself and make a better plan. But I'm sure it didn't bother them, and then it's fine.
Is there something unclear I'm kind of doing with my prep to start that pickup in the 13? Is it, I mean, like, I know there's a natural delay, but.
On that beat 3 entrance,
Yeah.
I just don't think that they're 100% ready. So just do it again. I want you to take a little bit longer moment of stillness before you start. Give a good confident breath with a beat 2 preparatory gesture so that 3 happens with as much energy as you can get. Give them a moment. Give yourself a moment. Ready, aim, and fire. Better, worse, the same?
Better.
Okay, do we get it? The other thing is that we're all rhythmic mutants in here, and that dotted half note hurts thousands and millions of young musicians across the country every day. Pick a spot before that and just do it again.
We do the pickups into 17. And we also pay attention to our generic responsibilities. Blues, piccolo, oboe, and there's piano. Learn at 1, 2, 3, small, right? That's still a lot. And the same thing, trumpet. You can mess up piano just a little bit more. And the trumpet too, whoever's playing that, sit underneath that, okay? Cool?
Better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's a little too much going in that better?
The slowdown?
Yeah.
Do I think, my one man's opinion?
Does it seem that way?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. Right, that's what I meant by me, you're asking me my one man's opinion. I'm hesitant to bring that kind of stuff up because I don't want you to feel like that I'm saying what you've done was wrong. I wouldn't slow down quite that much. I'd give it probably a beat or two before I went to subdivision, if I went really at all. But there's two good lessons from there I want to point out to everybody. You notice Pat, when he went back, he didn't say anything about the slowdown. Right? He asked you to think about some dynamic responsibilities. He just went back and did it again, and you all hung on to that subdivision much better the second time. I think too often we attack mosquito with a machine gun. Sometimes, like the group didn't follow us with a subdivision, so then we spend 48 seconds lecturing about following a subdivision. But just give the musicians another chance. They just didn't see it was coming. They didn't see it coming. The next time they'll see it coming, and they'll be a little more with you. Now, the likelihood of conducting this piece with musicians like this, again, is not very high. But the second thing I wanted to point out is, Eli, how do you feel about that pickup note you got to play right there?
Feel exposed.
What is that note? Mi-do-di-do.
My G.
So that's a concert F, that's a G on top of the staff?
Yeah.
Yeah, what age were you comfortable playing that note, if you have yet to reach that age?
I still feel a little shaky.
Right, and people do this to 7th grade bands. People do this piece to 7th grade bands a lot. This piece is one of the most underrated hard pieces. And I just want to toss that out there for all you future band directors. Just kind of keep in mind that this piece is not a grade 2.5. I don't know what it is, because I'm hard pressed to call it a 3, but I'm sure hard pressed to call it a 4, since we seem to call the whole suites a 4. I don't think it's the whole suite. But I don't think it's fodder for bad high school bands or mediocre middle school bands. And that's who you hear play it a lot of the time. So you hear it played terribly. And I just figured Eli would say what I thought he'd say, because that's accurate. I mean, that's coming in out of the blue on a G on top of the staffs. You know, also, what's the dynamic? MP, P?
Yeah,
That's a piano.
That's a piano. That's tough. That's tough. So piece is underappreciated for how difficult it is. So wherever you want to go now, Pat. You got 5 minutes, 4 minutes.
I'm starting in that same spot. And I'm trying to work on it. Start a little bit more. So.
This is a great opportunity for us to just kind of talk. And I share with the conducting class that's happening this semester. A good friend of mine is the director of bands at the University of Kentucky, at Billy Birdwell. And Cody did a very cool thing this summer. He was just telling me about it on the phone a couple weeks ago. He went to France to go do a conducting symposium. And one of the things that was different about this conducting symposium is most of them are set up where there's a big shot, there's somebody to talk, and there's conversation that goes like this, where there's, you know, the conducting symposium, there's the conducting dude, and then there's the people, and you can go back and forth. This one had no conducting dude, quote unquote. It was like 15 players from the professional orchestra nearby. The symposium was all about chamber repertoire, and all the conversation, all the commentary was from the 15 chamber players and the conductor, the professional musicians and the conductor, all the background. So I think that's inspiring. I think too often we don't think to just, you know, it's less important what I think about what you did than it is that they think about what you did. So let's ask them something here. Pat's done this twice in a row where he's getting ready to start for you guys, and he's conducted 3 full beats in preparation for that 4. You know what I'm talking about, Woodwin? Especially this has been you both these times, giving you a 1, 2, 3, and you come in on 4. Do you prefer that, or do you prefer stillness, 1 breath, and go? Give them one and the other, can you?
Yeah.
So pick up measured pickups. Where are we?
Pickups in 17.
Pickups to 17. So you guys have a preference?
First one. I think if you're gonna do the full beats, use both hands when you do like the 4th beat. Because sometimes I like, me personally, I have to listen to ones. Like if you're gonna get 4 beats.
I think either way, give them a little more energy than you're giving them. It's kind of a milquetoast breath. I've never seen you breathe like that with a euphonium on your lap. Comments from Mr. Guerin? Go ahead.
I think maybe figure motion in general, maybe would help with like clarity. Maybe,
Like bigger gestures.
yeah, like cutoffs and preps, maybe.
Especially when you're subdividing. Anytime you brought your left hand up to like 4-1 for downbeat, I was like immediately looking at you. So that like caught my eye.
I think you're mumbling a lot, and I can't really hear a lot of the instructions that you're giving. It's making me a little hard. Also, I think that when you're giving some of your instructions, you had your head buried, and you weren't like, flutes, you should do this. And it was kind of like, not, I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like, it kind of was just like, oh, okay. And then,
It's kind of second thought.
yeah.
Well, I thought you did a really good job with like using your breath to make sure that they came in on time, but also like for the most part your head was buried in the floor and you could just come out like either you're an outgoing person if you just like bring that to the table.
You worked with Matt Prater or Snyder on those kinds of things, any of your little teaching episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How does he refer to that?
More just like developing rapport, and just like it kind of sets the tone for energy in the rehearsal when you're teaching with the student.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a teaching, personality, teaching mask or so. So it sounds more fake than I want it to be, but and you went through the March of Tech class. One of the parts of that book by Wayne Markworth, he talked about the end, about the life teacher balance stuff. About sometimes you just have to fake it, Like sometimes you're in a bad mood before band, you have to sort of fake it. One of the fun parts about it though is usually halfway through the rehearsal, if you came in faking it, you're not faking it anymore. Usually things go upwards from there, So I know that parts of your personality are an outgoing guy, but you're also kind of a quiet guy sometimes, so that might be something that you just have to work on. That teacher voice, I think is what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
Last things for Pat?
I really appreciate that you were making contrast between your pianos and fortes. But sometimes, this is a different comment, so I shouldn't have said, but sometimes, like, say, 1/437, you brought your left hand into the equation, and it really didn't serve any purpose besides to mirror your right hand. Like, there was no dynamic change, no, like, anything, and then it happened again, like, 1/37. So I just personally didn't understand the point of it, and it seems like wasted effort.
Okay, guys, we got one more.
Oh, I was just saying that I could tell that you really knew this piece really well and you'd really analyzed a lot of different possibilities that would be helpful for us. So I
It's a
appreciate that.
tough piece to conduct.
Yeah.
Tough piece to conduct. Thanks, Pat.